What's up, guys? It's Quinn.
It's Alex.
It's IconicComic. We're going to throw one more reaction in today because we had some extra time. We saw this while we were scrolling through. It's everything great about Captain America Civil War. I love the Cinema Sins videos where it's, you know, everything wrong with...
Bing, ding.
Yeah, everything wrong with blah, blah, blah. But I've really started to like these Cinema Wins videos because I'm more of an optimist when I watch these movies. So, yeah, hopefully there's a lot good in this.
I think to really appreciate film, though, you have to be able to see
The good and the bad.
The good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
But let's focus on the good today.
All right, let's get it.
Now the hairstyle makes sense. You know, other than to make us all swoon. I mean, the fangirls swoon. Spider-Man shadowing.
That's a coincidence.
It is.
That's a coincidence.
Still totally in love with Jackman's Winter Soldier theme. So happy they brought it back to tie us into Cap 2. Super Soldier Serum Misdirection. Starting right here, this entire film has a linear path towards some kind of final showdown between the other Hydra super soldiers and some Avengers, only for the final twist of what's actually important about this scene to be revealed later. Love these giant location title cards.
I do too.
As far as the film goes,
why.
they make perfect sense. This movie jumps around a lot and very rarely to the same time or location, so each giant title card is like a reset signal to us that something new is about to begin, like a new chapter. It's also a huge payoff later on to anyone who knows the hometown of a particular superhero, where a small marker at the bottom may have been overlooked. Ha! One of the few times we've been on the receiving end of a Cap jump. And I didn't notice the first time, but Falcon is the one who drops him off. Cap hasn't stopped finding new and brutal ways to punish faceless humans. And now even Falcon is joined in the butt-kicking fun, by adding a little extra panache to his repertoire.
That's cool.
Teamwork. I can't be the only one still totally impressed by Cap's shield skills, right?
I love when he throws it.
No one ever misses an opportunity to kick someone across the room. I'll be honest. I used to think Falcon was a little lacking in the universe where Iron Man and War Machine exist, but shield wings and thermal digital targeting are starting to redeem it. In addition to new butt-kicking moves, Black Widow has also upgraded her parkour skills. Well, hey there. This cute little guy won my... Oh, now he's become people. And Cap is the best. He may take some
like when he just tosses
slow
it.
down, and he can be bested a few times, but eventually
spine
he adapts
shot.
and starts winning. He's such a satisfying character. Maybe it's sort of Avengers 2.5, but it's still a Cap movie. Making Crossbones a supervillain essentially created by Cap and Winter Soldier is a great setup to nail home that this is Cap 3, but also another perfect way to start the main discussion of Civil War.
Brutal.
Saving your friend. Oh, crap. Oh, she's gone, people. One of the things that makes this such a great film is that it's almost entirely character-driven as opposed to plot-driven.
Yes.
There were plenty of ways to set up a perceived need for governmental oversight, but this explosion is also something that has a lasting effect on Wanda. A testament to the quality of this script is how insanely obvious it is to us what the final conflict will be on multiple
Mom got a
viewings,
little
but it's hidden
closer,
inside
so.
fun, stark tech, and more importantly, more character development with Pepper not being around. Immediately throwing Tony
They
off
threw it in her
kilter
face
with
what the twist was going to be, and we still got surprised.
As in, all of your projects have just been approved and funded.
Guilt philanthropy. Gilanthropy.
His name was
It's Cottonmouth's cousin.
Yeah.
Saves many people. Doesn't everybody. He found a way to live with that. Next time, maybe nobody can say.
And there are your two opposing ideologies. Stark has no words and feels the full weight of his part played, and Cap can still see the good being done and all the worst that would happen without the Avengers' intervention.
And what word would you use, Mr. Secretary?
How about dangerous?
I'd be upset if the Hulk dated my daughter too. Perspective share win, with the Hulk presumably killing whoever took this footage with falling debris.
Mission report.
December 16th, 1991.
Zemo has been changed quite a bit from the comics, but we're so far removed from World War II at this point, it definitely makes more sense to have recent events be the reason for the Cap Avengers hatred.
In the 8 years since Mr. Stark announced himself as Iron Man, the number of potentially world-ending events has risen at a commensurate rate.
While Vision's equation is a common enough thread among superheroes, it follows a very logical chain of events in this universe. Crossbones, for example, was ready to die by suicide bomb just to take Cap with it. If that's not an escalation of villainy.
Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict. Conflict breeds catastrophe.
Anyone else love the way Vision is dressed? Like he's just trying to fit in and be human? He doesn't wear real clothes, so he must have fabricated those with his powers. And now we have both of our leaders not in their right minds. The life that Cap yearns for since he went into the ice has now officially been buried with Peggy.
Even if the whole world is telling you to move, it's your duty to plant yourself like a tree, look them in the eye and say no, you move.
Whether Steve would have found himself on this side of the Civil War or not, those call to action words, or inaction as it were, from Peggy would definitely push him towards that side, especially given that she plagiarized one of his most famous speeches from the comics.
I didn't want you to be alone.
One of the best emotional moments in this film, building off the relationship they solidified in Winter Soldier. Hawkeye was our surrogate in Age of Ultron, but this time Natasha is the one with feet in both worlds. As an ex-villain who is constantly questioning if she's on the right side of history, she can empathize with both sides and her conflict makes perfect sense no matter her allegiances. And even if they fall on opposite sides, she still loves Cap. Also hugging. Since Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Iron Man, there has not been a better cast than Chadwick Boseman for T'Challa.
Yes. Absolutely.
His silent stoicism exudes years of warrior lineage and built-in genetic wisdom.
Every time he
plays
says
so
something,
confidently, it's barely
profound
surprising when
knowledge,
he
and
starts
he's staring
competing
into the
physically with
distance.
Captain Bucket.
Back on. Resolve them back on.
Zemo is an intelligence operative, but he isn't a super genius or enhanced in any way. This shot of him learning the Russian trigger word shows that. He's just a guy out for revenge with lots of patience. Picking up where the Winter Soldier left off, Bucky is still running, learning about his past, and obviously not staying in any one place for very long. Stopping bullets with your hand. Bet we'll never see that again.
Come on, man.
Saving your sort of enemies?
Oh.
The claustrophobia of this stairwell fight scene brings me right back to the elevator, and it actually ends with the target jumping down a long distance. But that catches a win. Ooh, everything about Black Panther, especially his appropriately feline movements as he stalks up on Bucky. Yep, he's bulletproof.
Bitch.
Cats always laying on their paws. It's so evident how planned out Bucky's escape route is. Everything he does is so meticulous, and he seems to have contingencies for his contingencies, right down to going into the tunnel to evade the helicopters. This chase could have come off really goofy, but they nailed it. Exciting, tense, and about as
You know how they
believable as
did
humans
that
running faster than cars
with
can
those
be. Man, did they do Black
airport
Panther right.
runways, like the conveyor belts? They
Somehow,
would run on
that's
those
not
while the cars
CGI.
would go by to make
So
them look
that's
like they were
5
running
yes.
faster.
Tom and Jerry reference. If I had a nickel for every time Cap runs away from or is some way near flipping cars, I'd have a number of nickels. Still awesome. Something I love about the MCU is that we're at a point now where secret identities just don't really matter. Oh, another enhanced dude? Whatever.
You know, I don't know what this is. One day, who knows? I may even control it.
Yeah, Thanos will probably have something to say about that.
Punch you in your perfect
I'll do it
teeth.
myself.
Airport shadowing.
Don't grant visas to weapons of mass destruction.
kid.
Give me a break!
Can we just give these two guys Oscars already?
Yes. Not
What comes
Oscars,
out
but
and the Winter
it's
Soldier
good
theme comes
acting.
right back. Stopping a bullet with your hand. Bet we'll never see that again. Nothing ever works in the Winter Soldier. Last time he caught Cap's shield and broke Falcon's wings. This time he's barely slowed down by Iron Man's pulse blast, and the second movie in a row is never, ever taken down by Black Widow's scissor head move. Love that T'Challa still lands like a panther even without his suit. What was I saying about swooning? I mean, yup. Returning the favor. Every win I give Black Widow for amazing fighting and parkour in large part actually goes to this woman. Super Soldier number 3, aka Heidi Moneymaker. She's the stunt double that makes some of this choreography look so amazing. As well as Jackson Spidell, Cap's double, and Aaron Toney, who does stunts for Falcon and Black Panther. And the misdirection continues. A Super
Fun
Soldier that can best
fact.
Bucky? These guys have to be our final battle, right? Beautiful beard win.
Whiskers.
I thought they were going to end up fighting them.
All the comic readers cheered. This is the payoff for giant location title cards.
Hey, Matt, you get my emails, right?
Both of them sending signals. Such a perfect intro for bumbling, awkward Peter Parker.
It's hard for me to believe that she's someone's aunt.
Yeah, well, they come in all shapes and sizes, you know.
True, just
He's like-
less Marissa Tomei, more Angela Lansbury.
I'm gonna sit here so you move the leg.
That line. Tom Holland forgot his blocking where he's supposed to be and move in the scene, and so completely in character, Robert Downey Jr. asked him to move his legs. So he
That
could
was
sit down.
improv?
Funny moment of the nervous actor
my
Tom
God,
and the
I
nervous
love
character
him.
Peter melding together, because that's Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark and Iron Man.
Guess I should have knocked.
What are you doing here?
Fair question.
Disappointing
Two
my
reasons.
kids.
He owes Quicksilver his life, therefore will always feel responsible for Wanda. And also, he's the one that gave her that
There you
speech I
go.
wind in Age of Ultron.
Somebody
that
was
encouraged her to
asking
start
why
tearing
was
Ultron
Hawkeye
apart.
even there. He owes Quicksilver his life. So basically, he owes one.
Oh, Vision, you indestructible being you.
It's kind of not fair.
This might look like she's just pushing him through the floor, But if you watch closely, she actually decreases his density, or in some way spreads his molecules, so that Hawkeye can slip through. Then she increases his density to the point where he's so heavy the Earth's gravity starts sucking him downward. Fun little details.
Wow.
Also flirting.
Can you move your seat up?
Is this creepy or sweet? Creepy or
It was
sweet?
weird.
Both.
I guess
I'll
it's-
say both.
Plus,
was
don't you know
weird.
you can never trust Emily Thorne? Bro approval.
It's like, come on,
There's
guys.
another real-world crossover for Scott Lang, Paul Rudd. This is like the best-case scenario of worlds colliding. My buddy Ant-Man, whose backstory I know, and
feel
my
like
other
that
buddy
was
Steve
Paul
Rogers,
Rudd
who I've known
actually
since
just
the
being
1940s,
starstruck,
finally
too.
meeting and getting along. Also, how about that little jab at the typical formulaic Marvel ending there?
Something about some psycho assassins?
Because who really cares? Another insert villain here type bad guy? Scott Lang is always the man for the meta job.
Captain America. I know you too. You're great.
Also compliments.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Everyone's always so polite to Black Panther. Spider-Man!
That's how we are.
Spider-Man catching Bucky's metal arm?
You have a metal arm?
He's so strong.
This is a Spider-Man full of life
He's
and
the fourth
excited and intrigued
strongest
by everything.
character in Marvel.
So there's the Sokovia Accords for preventing human casualty, but what about preventing property damage?
Yeah, Tony.
Honda Accords?
The Honda Accord?
That's good. That's good.
Spidey sense!
Hey, buddy, I think you lost this.
Couldn't have done that earlier.
I hate you.
Honesty.
I think they're gonna end up
This
being
is that
friends
scene
though,
where your
like
inner child
eventually,
should
like
be
it's
welling up
just
with tears from
jabs.
so much excitement. Just making sure we're all on the same page.
We fight.
This is when your eyes get as big as dinner plates and you can't wipe that dumb grin off your face. Scarlet Witch gets the saving your friend's gold medal in this fight.
That thing does not obey the laws of physics at all.
Says the guy who can climb straight up walls.
Buckled in?
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good, Arrow guy.
Let's
Nickname
do
win.
this.
Also,
I'm
amazing
good,
cover.
Arrow guy.
And any scenes involving Ant-Man are some of the most stunning.
It's your conscience. We don't talk a lot these days.
Alright, fine, I'll win Ant-Man.
I passed out.
Self-confidence.
I'm the boss!
Giant Man! So this was a win I took out of my Winter Soldier video because I didn't want to spoil Civil War. But remember this?
It was down to me to save your life. Would you trust me to do it?
I would now.
Just in case anyone
Oh god, I love the Russo brothers.
Wait, what? Everyone has seen Empire. What? Tom Holland actually hasn't seen it?
Yeah, he didn't see it.
I don't know what to do here.
Oh
Tom
man.
Holland loses a win until he sees it, but it was a funny line. But still, add reference.
Said I'd help you find them, not catch them. There's a difference.
She's
Good thing Vulcans embrace technicality. Win for Vision's first real human moment. He's a supercomputer that should have calculated all the
My thing
variables,
is,
or even more
he's about to do
importantly,
that
should have
to
been up there
Falcon.
with them still in this fight.
He was aiming for
Instead, he
his
was tending to Wanda.
jetpack, maybe would have fallen and died.
Brutal. Right up until the last second, you think they
Falcon
might
would
catch
have
him, but the ground only comes
Not
into frames and
lived
hits
that
it.
fall.
Gotta watch your back.
He doesn't have a
guy.
suit.
Chance he's gonna break it.
I just realized he was
Blow,
talking
blow,
about Rhodey.
Blow, blow.
Yeah.
He's gonna break your back.
Who are you?
Ooh, burn.
Because you won't have to go mark
Burn.
Hey, at least they're sticking with the 90s theme.
That's one of my favorite Iron Man suits.
Yes.
Well executed, surprising, emotionally relevant twist win. Anti-Stormtrooper.
You could feel everyone in the
alternate
theater at the
subtitle
same
for this
time
movie
go,
could have
"Oh,
been Captain
no."
America falling down, harder than Hank Pym. Ooh, that's a layered reference.
This isn't gonna change what happened. I don't care.
He killed my mom.
And after everything that's been happening with Tony, losing Pepper, feeling guilt over Sokovia, and now learning what he believed about his parents' death was a lie all along,
It's
his
just all
response
these
is totally
emotions just
believable.
bubbling.
As much as it pains me to say, teamwork. And this might be the most beautiful showdown the MCU has ever offered. The directors, DP, gaffer, location scout, man, just everyone involved in this looking like this.
Okay, they reversed it. I thought.
I was like,
And also,
was there an
yeah,
extended
I'm
cut?
surprised that Bucky was trying to kill Tony, since Iron Man is trying to kill him. Cap and Bucky are just trying to disable his suit and end the fight. Wouldn't be a Russo MCU film without someone
But
losing
did-
an arm Star Wars style.
Did Bucky
Never has a
know?
comic cover or panel come to life like this.
Hold on.
Just epic.
Did Bucky know that that wasn't attached to his?
Now this voicemail message takes on a new meaning and
I
really
think Bucky
humanizes
was trying to
Zemo.
kill him.
And the Avengers?
Well, someone was trying to kill him too. That's why it's my favorite fight.
We'll talk about Zemo's plan.
There's so many different stakes
I've got
and
to give
emotions.
Daniel Bruhl a win for his performance throughout. Who can't sympathize with his motivation?
This right here.
Vengeance has consumed you.
I'm done letting you consume.
Consume me. I'm done letting it consume me.
Taking the high road. Stopping a bullet with your hand. Bet we'll never see that again.
Living.
I can do this all day.
Call back. Another emotional closing to a Captain America story. As much as he loves Bucky, you know it hurts to see Tony in so much pain. And the idea of losing him can't be easy.
Raise your voice. Zap. Touch the glass. Zap.
I wouldn't mess with him. He talks to dragons.
Huh?
Are you Tony Stank?
You wouldn't think Stan Lee would be willing to deliver anything for Cap after he stole that uniform in Winter Soldier. Or maybe he got him this job. Employment win. One of the few complaints lobbed at this movie is that Marvel refuses to ever follow through on the stakes they set up, that everything is peachy by the end because of Cap's note
I
to
don't
Tony.
think it's peachy.
But Cap wasn't the one with the problem. Cap wasn't asking for change. He wanted things to stay the same. It should have been no surprise that Cap wrote this letter and we don't really get Tony's response. For me, it's pretty open-ended. Obviously, I expect them to reconcile before the huge conflict of Infinity War, or more likely Thanos' arrival will have the UN begging for Cap to lead the Avengers again. But that doesn't eliminate the lasting effects this film had on Steve and Tony's relationship.
No problem.
Please hold.
Keeping a promise.
You can call me anytime. I'll put you on hold. I'd like to watch the line blink.
Poor EP Louis Desposito gets a Hydra shadow. And the closing credits are not peachy keen, everything's back to normal. There are still forming and lasting cracks.
Come to me. Let them try.
Yes.
Black Panther!
Hope you got a few good licks in.
An Aunt May that encourages Peter to fight? Is it possible they'll avoid the great power, great responsibility speech?
It's like Ultimate Universe Spider-Man.
Also Spider-Man! Spider-Man Civil War! The movie that no one expected to compete with Batman v Superman ended up beating it at the box office and in critic ratings. It's not to say it's perfect.
Who thought it
but
wouldn't be
it's
better?
pretty dang close. Captivating characters that have been built up over 832 MCU movies.
When it first was
Anything that
announced,
no one
like,
saw
in
coming that subverted
2013,
the expectations of a
I
typical
thought it would be like
escalation
this.
giant big bad finale, except for the few people that noticed this little Easter egg in Winter Soldier, and some emotional conflict that ends up superseding the political one. One of the easiest parts of this movie to pick apart is Zemo's plan. I understand some Dark Knight's Joker level pieces falling perfectly into place happen, but the way I look at it, he eventually would have been able to get that tape to start this fight anyway. So why not now? I'll first say that while I usually give villains credit for having bigger plans, higher motives, or the best of intentions, Zemo is a simple villain with a simple goal: revenge for the death of his family.
And
what
he's
better
the
way to
only
do that
villain
than
to
to
be
pit the two leaders of the
successful,
team you
pretty
feel
much
is
so
responsible
far,
against each
and
other?
what his
I was
plan
going to talk
was.
through the entire thing with clips proving that it's not as convoluted as you might think. Instead, you can pause here and read it if you want. The one thing I will talk about are the complaints that the whole super soldier subplot was a waste of time just tricking us until the twist. But that was a big part of Zemo's plan. It's the reason he makes sure the real psychiatrist is discovered. He already knows he has at least Steve and Bucky headed to the super soldiers, but he was also trying to get Tony there as well. It's just a matter of making sure Tony's alerted to the switch he made, which would obviously lead him to believe Cap's original story about the super soldiers. It's also important to note that Zemo's plan has nothing to do with the Accords and wouldn't be affected by the Accords in any way. And everyone's favorite complaint is that a bunch of people other than Zemo had to do things a certain way for this plan to work, except we're actually shown his plan not working. He was hoping to get the info about Siberia from the Hamlet, and he didn't. So he moved on to plan B 2.3. Is it so hard to imagine that he had multiple plans and backup plans? Wouldn't it have been boring to watch him constantly pivoting instead of just showing whatever his backup plan was panning out? Zemo is at the very least a new, interesting villain. All the cast members we love are back and giving
Did
their all.
it.
The new additions of Tom Holland and Chadwick Boseman were superb choices for the respective
Ding,
roles.
ding.
I'm super excited for both Black
Why don't
Panther
you just ding
and
every time a new
Spider-Man
picture comes
Homecoming
out?
in this
It's
film.
like,
Everyone's got to give it now.
The Russo brothers have now firmly proven that they know what they're doing. There's not just one narrative thread that leads to civil war.
These guys were
it's layers
comedic
upon
television
upon layers of
directors.
history and conflict. Tony resents, actually he says,
I hated you.
before Steve was even back in the picture because of his father Howard's love for Cap. The tension between them has been building since the first Avengers. They're both emotionally compromised from personal relationship issues, and then you throw the final twist into the mix and their fight is totally believable, organic, and stands on its own. The most interesting thing happening in this film is the initial setup and switch of Tony and Steve. The government creation no longer trusts the organization that made him, and the self-made genius rebel is now looking for that organization to hold him accountable. The Winter Soldier was
It's kind of
Steve's
crazy
real
how
awakening when
like
it came to
different
large
their characters are
organizations.
from when they started.
S.H.I.E.L.D. was supposed to be this
They're
incorruptible
almost
group of
switched.
people started by Peggy. When he realizes that even they could be compromised by something like Hydra, that no
People with agendas.
could really be trusted, of course he's going to be against the Accords. Tony, on the other hand, has spent film after film making mistakes and the wrong decisions. Decisions that led to him creating Killian, creating Ultron, and the thing leaving him the most raw from this film, losing Pepper. This film is great because it's the culmination of both these men's stories. Their arcs didn't start at the beginning of this film, so really credit to the MCU as a whole. Other than our leaders, every character, Avenger or otherwise, has their own personal reasons for picking the side that they do. No one is just on one side or the other by default. even though for both War Machine and Falcon, there really was never a choice.
I've seen
They're
where
gonna
Cap's
prove
reading
their
it.
strengths.
Every time I look at it,
Vision,
it's almost like
Wanda,
he's like,
Natasha, they all come to their own
I'm
conclusions
trying
about
to
the
figure out
Accords
what
based
this
on
whole
personal
thing is.
experience.
Yeah.
Even though this is another more mature film, closer to Winter Soldier than Avengers, it still has that Marvel charm and lightheartedness.
We talked about this.
Yes, but the
The humor adds levity.
And using
It doesn't
Ant-Man and Spider-Man to deliver
take away
most
from
of
the
the
story. It
comedy
doesn't
throughout
pull
the
you
airport
out.
fight was well conceived, as they're the only two who have no stake in this fight.
Gotta say, that's awesome.
I don't know if you've been in a fight before, but there's usually not this much talking. Oh, come on!
Ant-Man and Spider-Man just happen to be there.
But every character gets their little comedy moment.
So you like cats?
So now the Russos have also proven that they can handle a huge ensemble cast. I won't say that I'm not a little worried for Infinity War in that respect. Especially if they're really going to combine everyone from this film with the rest of the missing Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy, and the 2 new characters from this film, and possibly introduce Captain Marvel. Screw it, it's gonna be awesome. Just get Fox to throw in a few X-Men and the Fan 4 sticks, you're guaranteed to make $1 trillion. Ah, and then we could actually do a JLA Avengers team-up. Snyder, Whedon, Russo
Easy.
brothers. all
Snyder,
co-directing
Whedon, Russo
fucking
brothers
possible.
co-directing. That would be dope as hell, and you know it.
Oh, right. It's called the Lego Movie.
They say sarcasm is a metric for potential.
Captain America. Mr. Lang. Thanks for thanking me.
I still have problems with this movie. I love the movie, but there are some of the sins that I feel like outweigh a lot of the good.
Don't get me wrong, it's not a perfect movie.
Yeah.
But
It's fun.
the differences between it and Batman vs. Superman are what make it like. The plot is actually very similar. It's a very similar plot. You have an outside villain that's non-superpowered, Zemo, Luthor, basically trying to set up a very giant, complicated plan, turning 2 sides against each other to eventually fight at the end. Like, it's, you know, there's little details that are different, but it's basically a similar plot.
Yeah.
But the difference is, and it was like one of the first wins, this film is not plot driven, it is character driven. You believe every single person in this movie for why they're doing what they're doing. In BVS, I didn't believe every single person. It's like, I really don't believe Superman, who, you know, ended up killing probably about 10,000 people in that fight with Metropolis, because Batman brands a few guys, is like, I gotta stop this guy. I didn't believe that for 1 second.
Yeah.
I believe this.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, there's just
Team Iron Man.
there's just too many things with this movie that I can't just overlook. I felt like this video here was just, it was talking like it was basically why you should be Team Cap. That's how I felt.
I don't agree, because they really explain why Tony was on his side, and they explain why Cap was on his side. They left it up for debate.
I still think they shouldn't have made it a Cap movie. I think they should have made it an Avengers movie.
See, I'm okay with it being a Cap movie because the comics
Clearly
the comics could have been called Captain America: Civil War. They just said Civil War. The reason they call this is, one, it's a movie. They couldn't just go Civil War. No one would really know what that meant. It didn't have Avengers or a superhero in the title. It wouldn't get as many butts and seats. But from another standpoint, it is a Captain America movie. It has Avengers in it, but the story is the finale of his arc.
Okay, I understand that. But the comic and the movie are two, like the MCU and the comics are separate entities.
I know, I'm just saying.
And they're both out. Don't cut me off!
In the comic,
don't cut me off!
Focused on Captain America.
Don't cut me off! But I'm saying, like the stories, the catalysts were totally, I mean, they were relatively the same type of thing, but they were so different. Different locations, different people. I mean, you can't compare the two. You can't. So you have to take this movie for what it is. And I just think it would have been better marketed and filmed as an Avengers movie, not focus so much on Captain America.
Well, then you kind of have to call every single movie coming out an Avengers movie.
Incorrect.
Because
you don't need to call it Avengers Thor Ragnarok.
Every single superhero movie from Marvel coming out has at least, I think, 3 Avengers, if not more, in it. They have to at this point, because they can't... Phase 2 was... I liked it, but it was kind of like, okay, well... This question you asked in every movie was, where's Thor? Like, okay, why isn't Iron Man helping out? They have listened, and they're like, okay, well, the universe is getting big, we can't ignore that. So we're throwing a lot of people in almost every movie, but centering them around one character's story arc. Captain America Civil War is centered around Captain America's story arc, but they're putting in other Avengers to help move the plot forward because it's character driven. Thor Ragnarok is Thor's story, but they're peppering in other Avengers to forward the plot.
I agree with doing that. You know, you can't ignore the other superheroes. I just think that Civil War, this particular movie, would have been better if it wasn't solely not solely focused, but it was mainly focused on Captain America. I think it would have been...
It was mainly focused on Captain America, but they did not make him or Iron Man the clear protagonist or antagonist.
That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to pick a good side or a bad side. We're seeing it more through Cap's vision, through Cap's lens, than anyone else's in this movie. And I just think it would have been better if it was from a more broad lens.
Oh, agree to disagree.
Okay, well, let us know what you guys thought in the comments section. Who do you agree with? And if you agree with what we said, let us know.
See, this is why this movie's so great. It causes debate. A movie like this should not be clear-cut, boom, this is what it is.
Either way.
It should cause debate.
Let us know what you guys
it's like Batman
thought.
vs. Superman. Everybody agreed. It was horrible. I was like...
Make sure you let us know. Make sure you like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
so you don't miss a single thing. Let us know if you want us to react to something. We got Twitter, Facebook, and our Gmail. And...
on your left.
Key music.
Holy Grail.